You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Let's get spooky. This is our station, Boo, where we explore the dark and mysterious corners of the world of horror, and we know that you are dying to listen. And welcome to the Spooky and Kooky podcast of Earth Station Boo, where we talk all things horror. Introducing our haunted hosties with the mosties. We have our lovely Lisa.
Hello, groovy ghoulies.
We got our kick-ass Karen.
What up, my horrorholics?
And I am your spooky Shannon. And today we are going to be talking about Mike Flanagan's Midnight Mass. So let's get spooky. Hey horrorholics, it's Shannon. Earth Station Boo has just launched its brand new merch store. It's time to get your hands on some killer gear. From our fun logo shirts, cozy hoodies, Let's Get Spooky stickers, and Horrorholics Anonymous totes, there's something for every one of our lovely little ghouls. We offer our spooky designs on many different types of products to fit your desires. But if you happen to see a missed opportunity, just let us know. And unlike most of Stephen King's adaptations, you know what I'm talking about, you won't be disappointed with the quality of the products. Head over to our link tree in our bio, grab your merch, show off your favorite horror podcast, and most of all, let's get spooky.
Of Tinseltown with the Tales from Hollywoodland podcast. Join our hosts as they dive into the legends, the lore, and the untold stories of Hollywood's golden age and beyond. From iconic stars and scandalous secrets to the legacy of the silver screen, no story is too big and no details too small. Whether you're a diehard film buff or just love a great behind-the-scenes tale, this is the show for you.
Tales from Hollywoodland. Your Hollywood adventure starts right here.
Midnight Mass. This is the little offspring of Mike Flanagan, something that he created back in 2014, but got told no so many times that he then planted it in a ton of his other works. It was the best-selling book by his character Maddie in Hush. It was the book sitting on a shelf in Hill House. It is a book that got shown throughout a number of the different haunting series that finally got Netflix was like, okay, we'll make a mini series. And this is something that got filmed. One of the first productions that actually got back into filming during the pandemic. This started filming, I want to say August of 2020. But this is a story. If you have not seen the series, there will be spoilers. So please go watch it because we're not protecting you. But it is about a small isolated island that has a Monsignor who goes to the holy cities, comes back essentially a vampire, although they never say the word vampire, and brings back the one who turned him, thinking it's an angel. And the next thing you know, the whole town is getting turned at some point. All chaos ensues. So it's this maddening tale that kind of starts from all of this. Ladies, what was your initial thoughts when you were watching this series? Lisa, do you want to start us off?
Sure. Well, it was definitely a familiar feel because it looked like Sanibel Island where I lived when I was a kid. So I kind of had that. I could smell everything again, which is really cool. I don't know. It kept me busy. I didn't want to lose any of the details. I really, really had a good flow to it.
Okay.
And just the whole familiar of the Sanibel, the island, it was just felt kind of like home, an old home I used to live in.
Okay. Karen, how about you?
I mean, when I watched it, it was, it was okay. I enjoyed it for, the series for, what it was. I kind of figured out what was going on by like the end of the episode 1, beginning of episode 2. And I was like, all right. It kind of sort of had like a Salem's Lot feeling to it. And I love the Salem's Lot movie, the original. I don't know what they keep doing with the ones that keep coming out. But so it kind of felt familiar with the whole vampire vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first time I watched it, I had a really hard time getting into it. I think part of it was because mentally I was not in a space to be able to like watch it and consume it and actually digest what I was watching. Because I want to say I was in a burnout. So like really anything I was consuming during that time frame just was not actually sticking and staying. I had a really hard time getting into it, but I rewatched it right before we did this episode. And I felt like I was watching it for the first time because I was actually able to like process what I was watching. And it was amazing to watch, but it was familiar all at the same time. It was this beautiful dichotomy between new and old. And I kind of enjoyed a lot of like what was provoked throughout the series. Like I felt like I was being challenged to kind of like rethink things throughout. But at the same time, like this could definitely be an easy like just toss on and like in the background while I'm doing the dishes, So Midnight Mass, it made a huge impression on some people. Like I know when we had Samantha on, she said that it was very triggering for her religious trauma, that it kind of holds like a certain kind of space for her. What was your guys' personal reaction when you were watching it? And was there a moment that just kind of like stuck with you where you're like, this is like a scene that I'm not going to forget from this series?
Like I said, the show was okay. I didn't really get to take much out of it. There were some good scenes, some good writing, but I think the scene that stuck with me was the sheriff when his son turned and they're on the beach, and I'm like, that hurt.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a parent, but that hurt. That hurt my soul. I was like, shit.
Yeah.
And I think I cried a little bit because I'm an auntie. So yeah. Yeah. And I think that's like the scene that got to me. And that motherfucking bitch Bev. I enjoyed her being
we will get to Bev. Oh, the words I have for that woman. Which we'll get to it. We'll get to that. So what about you?
I forgot what her name is, the girl that was in the wheelchair when she started getting better.
Yeah.
That stuck with me a lot. I can't remember her name now.
Aaliyah,
I think. Yeah, I think that might be it. Just how, I don't know, just the whole familiar feeling of the island and the way the people were together and communicated together. And then I kind of, when the son came home and everybody was just kind of looking at him suspiciously when there was something else. It just, and when he finally was on the beach, the vampire guy, and just how foreboding he was. That stuck with me because that actually kind of gave me the eerie creepies, because I remember being on a dark beach at night is always kind of creepy to me.
As I said, like I my second watch of it felt like the first time, and it did invoke a lot of feelings and thoughts, and some of it was like, yeah, no, I can completely understand this. I feel like this was a 7-episode series. I felt like in each episode there was a scene that stuck out for me. But I think the one that stuck out the most was the end. because it was beautiful, horrific, but beautiful. It was weirdly like beautiful and horrific all at the same time. And the way that it was shot, it makes me want to know kind of like what happened in the aftermath. Like in my head, like the people from the mainland are seeing all the smoke and like the embers from the island, and like the Coast Guard is getting sent out to like help put out the island, and they're trying to radio in and finding out that they can't get anybody, and like a Coast Guard boat comes over and saves the kids, and like I want to imagine like everything that happens after that ending scene. We kind of talked about like we all had emotions that were hit at some point, even if we found it to be kind of like, whatever. What do you think makes it hit emotionally? Like, is it because it's kind of a slow burn? Is it because of the realistic dynamics that are throughout the show? Like, high school sweethearts and, prodigal sons and, just neighborhood bullshit drama, like all that kind of stuff. Was it how there's like a lot of like kind of unanswered questions and things that still kind of were left unsaid, even though they didn't need resolution, or just the love-hate relationship with some of the characters that we had that were in there? What do you think was like the thing that hit harder emotionally?
Like, emotionally, like the slow burn of some of the stories like hit harder. The human dynamics, the relationships that people have, the hate for that bitch Bev. And
Fucking Bev.
she killed that dog. I don't care what anybody says.
She did. Oh yeah,
she did.
100%.
I want to kill her. She killed that dog. I know she told us, but I want to punch her in the face.
Like as soon as I saw the dog licking something, I'm like, that bitch poisoned the dog. I know she did.
Yeah, I know she did. And then she put up the poison. I'm like, oh, if I could jump through this TV,
I would feed that to her myself.
Like, then we won't have like, a villain of the story.
Mm.
But, the one thing that I besides, father and a son, was Lisa or Lisa, I don't know how to pronounce it. When she went to the guy that left her paralyzed.
Yeah.
And she said she forgave him. I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could. I mean, you hit me. Drunk at that. But
not hit, he shot her.
Oh, he shot her, yeah. Well, sort of. It's just I don't know if I could forgive somebody like that. I mean, yeah, I have a miracle to walk again, but I don't.
That's the power of faith.
I don't know if I could. I mean, this is a power of faith, but faith has a cost. In this island's case.
But still, that's the power of faith.
Yeah. So those two scenes, besides the father and son. Goddamn Bev.
Completely understand you on that one. Lisa, how about you?
It was definitely a slow burn in the interaction of all the people, and damn it, Bev. God, that woman. Yeah, I think all of it combined together, the love and hate for the characters, the slow burn and everything, and just the whole familiarity of everything. It's just like, it's like a simple kind of life. It's not like rush city type. It was slow. So I think that's what helped.
Fucking Bev.
Fucking Bev.
I think Flanagan, I think he's a master at this. Of every scene, every plot, every storyline, it all comes together and it builds and it creates this solid story that just grips you and just sucks you in. There are moments that you're like the fuck, and then at the same time you're like, well, yeah, that was coming. Or the heartbreak of Erin, of seeing Littlefoot, and then you you have no signs that you were ever even pregnant. Like, how heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching is that? Like, to sit there and to be so excited for this beautiful little life that is growing inside of you, and then to have it just ripped away and people question your sanity because of it. Like, that's like that's not cool. It hits hard. To have Riley even. So like really the first like character that you come across in this series is Riley, who while driving under the influence ends up killing a girl and then spends 4 years in jail for it. And the guilt that you could see was literally eating him alive. I think he might have been just like almost like the before factor in comparison to Joe Cooley, who, even though he didn't kill somebody, he did completely, alter a young woman's life, and how instead of quitting what caused the issue, he dove in harder on it and was the town drunk. But you have every character had like these things that you just like, it pulled you. The sheriff being a single dad because his wife passed away from cancer. Like that, we've all lost somebody from cancer, and that's not an easy thing to go through. And it is heartbreaking. And you can see he's trying to connect with his son through their religion to keep his wife's memory alive. And like you can just see like this constant like emotional pull from all of these different characters. And then you've got fucking Bev, who everybody hated. Like the characters hated her. The cast was all like, Bev fucking sucks. Even like the woman who played her, she's like, I know that she was a horrid woman. Like, I get it. The sad thing about her is I've actually met somebody like that. Like I know somebody.
Oh, we've all had somebody
who
like
is
that.
Bev.
Yeah.
And I'm like, as soon as I saw her on the screen, I'm like, oh, that fucking bitch. I don't like her. I know why I don't like her. I can see it from a mile away, but it also means she's the perfect person to be cast as Carrie's mom in the new Carrie.
Yes.
Which she is being cast as that. I mean, this is basically her like, hey, you want to see me do Carrie's mom? Here you go. Bev from Midnight Mass. Like perfect role. I hope she doesn't get typecast because like I don't wish that upon the actress, but she does it a little too fucking well.
Yeah.
I mean, being
like
typecast, it is a hit or miss because some people want to break out and some people are, you know what, I'm making money off of being typecast. Let me continue making bank.
I mean, if that's what she wants to do, rock on, go for it. However, like the visceral I had for that character. Like I had to stop watching it at one point because I was so angry at the character. I'm like, you're not right, you fucking idiot. I just wanted to shake her. But it pulled emotions from me, and that I was just like, like that meme from and what is it, Angela from Smosh, where she like starts like racing. She's like, nope, I'm an adult. I'm gotta calm down. Like I had those moments. I was like, what is wrong? No, Shannon, chill, relax. You're an adult. This is fiction. No need to get this worked up. We kind of touched on it, that religion and faith are kind of central to Midnight Mass. How did you guys feel about the way the show kind of explored belief, and not just in God and like the religious aspect, but like in belief in community, belief in salvation, even belief in monsters? Lisa, do you want to start us off?
Sure. I actually it was a really interesting dichotomy because it's like it was interwoven with each other. And then you kind of start learning about it through the story, which is really interesting because it's like you have so many different faiths, even though they're a Catholic thing, but there were other people that were kind of wavering away from it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had the policeman that was Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it, Bev. And then there was, it was just kind of interesting. You had the ones that believed and then halfway believed, and the way it explored the dichotomy. And then you had the ones that believed in the monsters because the kids were on the island when all that stuff happened. And that entered into it. So yeah, it was the way it was written, and it just kind of flowed, and it was interesting.
Yeah. Karen, what are your thoughts?
Well, I actually like the story where the pastor or the Monsignor, when you discover that, or Father Paul, when you discover that his angel was actually a vampire, and it didn't seem to me like he understood. I was like, you do realize that's a vampire, right? Like, what are you doing, motherfucker?
Yeah.
That's a vampire. That's a monster. And so that his thought processes were so different from what I would, as a normal human being, would have, because he had faith, that this creature would bring about salvation for everybody.
Yep.
But then motherfucking Bev put it to a whole new level.
Oh, yeah.
Of just, and then you have the sense of community, especially when they did that whole barbecue cookout thing.
Yeah, the cookout, yeah.
And that made me feel, a part of that, because I've always wanted to have a community where we can all get together, like those block parties and those movies that you see, that people get together and share food. And I was like, I'm part of this. Then motherfucking Bev poisoned the dog. Why is she like ruining everything? I'm just realizing like the next thing is about her ruining something else. But then you have the island, poor cats.
Oh
yeah, the poor kitty cats.
The poor cats. And so you have this, you have their belief system, you have their faith, you have their, Paul's, faith in salvation with this new fountain of youth, quote unquote. And, and Lisa being able to walk again, quote unquote, because of this new thing, because of this angel. So, we have different perspectives. Some people saw the the angel as an angel, and some people are like, that's a motherfucking monster.
Yep.
What are you doing? Did you not read, do you not remember your fairy tales with the vampires? I was on their side. I'm like, I'm gonna fight these vampires with you. I'll be Blade. I'll be your Blade. Put on some techno music, That was the part that got me. I was like, Father, do you not understand? Okay. I know you want salvation from dying, because he was dying.
Yeah.
But your salvation comes with a price.
Yeah.
You're selling your soul to the devil.
Yeah. I mean, I also wonder like how much of it was because they had said that he was already like mentally not well. So possibly dementia.
Yeah.
Early start of Alzheimer's, that kind of thing. I'm wondering if what he thought was an angel, which ended up being a vampire, was from a demented kind of state where it wasn't even grasping onto lore and stuff like that, where it was more like, okay, the first thing my brain can connect to some big winged creature that I'm fearful of, it's an angel.
Yeah, because angel says, be not afraid. And you look at him and you're afraid. I think most of it had to be with his dementia. But at the same time, when you start, examining, you got your faculties and whatnot, I'll be sitting there really reflecting on like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
I drank his blood, right? And so, here comes Blade. Here comes Blade. Yeah, that would be me.
I watched an interview that had Mike Flanagan in this, and they specifically asked him about like, we can't tell if this was written by a devout Christian or by like an atheist who is being kind to Christians. Like we don't know like what viewpoint was what this was written in. He goes, it was written by both. He goes, I wanted there to be fairness for like the belief systems. He goes, because it's not it's not the belief's fault that there are corrupt people using it as a weapon. And that can be true for any religion, not just Christianity, not just Islam, not just community. Like, it's not just like one thing. And so it was a devout Christian atheist who wrote it, considering he was an altar boy at one point in time. So like, he understands. He really connected to Riley in the spiritual journey of, I was raised this way. I started having questions, and then I went looking literally everywhere. But this show really did kind of explore the deeper meanings of faith, of belief. And it wasn't just surface level action or anything like that. You could see the way that the community itself like came together at multiple different points to overcome something. Like the cat beach scene, like they all came, even though they were told not to come by, they're like, oh no, like something like this happened with the sparrows back in, 96 or, whatever the date was. And they were like, let's just go ahead and start cleaning it up. And, oh, we want to burn it? Okay, let's go ahead and burn them. Like there was like a camaraderie almost. The way that the community even kind of shunned the sheriff because he wasn't from the island. He didn't have any ties to the island.
Yeah, he was a Muslim.
And then it didn't help that he was of a different complexion and that he had a different faith. Like, it hit a lot.
It did not help at all.
Yeah, it hit a lot of things. But the amount of respect that was shown, even to, I'm going to even say this, the amount of respect even shown to Bev and her character of, she honestly thought she was doing the right thing.
He did.
Like, she believed with her full fucking chest she was doing the right thing. And so I like the way that it explored it. I like the way that it represented a lot of that stuff. This wouldn't be a Mike Flanagan episode, though, without us talking about the monologues.
No, right. I'm like, damn,
right.
But y'all could have said that in like a sentence or two. And created more scenes.
But we do love a good Mike Flanagan monologue. Do you think, especially with this being horror, which is a genre that's usually avoids having too much stillness because they want stillness to mean something a little bit more, there was a lot of still moments in this series. A lot of people just sitting and talking at each other or talking with each other / at each other, because these are monologues. How do you think a lot of those moments work with developing the horror unease and making it the spooky midnight mass that we watched?
A lot of the stillness worked in its event, and it works in its favor because of the fact that you don't know what's going to happen. You don't like being still for too long, especially in a horror movie.
Yeah.
Because that stillness either means one of two things. Something bad's going to happen, or you're going to live, and it's just a boring part of your life.
Yeah.
But most of the time, that stillness, something bad's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't know what bad that's going to come.
Yeah.
And I think that those stillnesses works to its advantage in making that movie creepy. I don't like being still. I don't. I watch many of horror movies. I don't like the stillness, especially if the stillness doesn't need to be there. But for the Midnight Mass, it had its place in the series, and it needed to be there.
It did. Yeah. Lisa, what about you? What are your thoughts?
I definitely agree with Karen. The stillness does have an effect to make a very uneasy setting. Like when he decided to do the AA meeting, I'm waiting for him to do something to the character, and I'm like, okay, what are you going to do? But it was just that monologue back and forth. And I think all the stillness, it does definitely make it creepier because you don't know what's going to happen and you're uncomfortable. You don't want to sit still. You want to find out what's going to happen, but not really sure.
Yeah. I think the stillness that I liked the most was when Erin and Riley were talking about what do they think happens when you die.
Mm-hmm.
I liked how it fed into other aspects of the story, such as when you are turned, you do go to your peak self. So for all of the old people, they became young and like all that kind of stuff. And then when Riley passed, he was again put into that, peak form. But so was the girl that he killed who greeted him at his death. So that conversation that they had, I think was probably the best because it fed into so much more that was happening. You just didn't know it yet. It was just one of those, almost like the calm before the storm. And the way that the series just kind of like builds to that moment and you have this stillness and then the clusterfuck of everything that happened after that. Like, I think that was my favorite moment that encapsulated the stillness and used it almost like a slingshot for the horror. It was like, okay, you have this talk that you just don't normally have, and now that is catapulting you to this final thing. Midnight Mass draws on a lot of familiar horror elements. We got the vampires, we've got the isolation, kind of have like sort of possession. You got some of the religious undertone cult type esque things happening with the drinking of poison and whatnot. But yet this story does feel unique. What do you think makes this approach that Flanagan had to this horror story stand out to you?
I would have to say the background, the where it's taking place, is not something usual that you would see. It's an isolated community, but it's not in a town. It's in a town, but it's like on the beach. So they're surrounded by water.
Yeah.
So I think that definitely enters in as an element because it's like you're surrounded by water, everything's messed up, you can't escape.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
I would have to agree with that. Is the isolation. You're on an island. You can't really leave if anything should happen. So, I mean, I don't mind being by myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, I need to be in a place where I can like leave in a heartbeat because I don't want to be ate by a vampire.
Yeah.
But then again, I'll be like Blade, because I have weapons. I have weapons in my house. So if I have to like, shank a vampire, I'm gonna shank a vampire.
Yeah. I think Flanagan, he knows how to make a story set you on edge. Because even though like this is a horror series, it's not scary per se.
Mm-hmm.
It could be triggering. It could be a little gory at times. But to say that this is a scary series, no, I wouldn't call it scary. But his use of like even the vampire, they never call it that. Not a single person calls it a vampire in the entire series.
Nope.
It's referred to as an angel or a monster. That's it. So to have an element but be framed differently was kind of refreshing, even though I know a lot of other people have done similar-esque things. But if you're viewing at it as as like somebody from that town, it was kind of cool to be like, oh, okay, that's not how they're going to talk about it. That's an interesting take.
Yeah.
The isolation, we'll get more into the island, but even the way that the characters interacted with each other had them isolated from each other. You had the sheriff who was isolated from the rest of the town because of his skin color and religion. You had the drunk who was cast aside because he was a drunk. You had even Bev was kind of like, people kind of walked on eggshells around her because of how bristly she was. You had Erin, who was a single mom or single pregnant woman who didn't have a husband with her. So, she kind of had that like harlot, kind of like red letter type deal. You even have Riley, who comes back after coming from prison. So everybody's like, and you can even see like within his own family, his mom's awkward about everything. His dad is like, I'm fucking disappointed in you. I have been for decades, it seems like. And his brother's like, yo, dude, I'm busy and I got my own life. Like, love you, but peace
but the
out,
thing
Cub
is,
Scout.
he's a teenager, so yeah, I would expect that from a teenager.
Yeah. Like you could even see like there was a brotherly bond there, but there was it was kind of surface level, if that makes sense. But you could see the way things were pulled apart and how people were isolated, just like relationship wise, they were isolating themselves. So I think it's interesting how he does it on just the multiple levels. It's like an onion, man. Like every level is a different type of thing. But he knows how to write it. And I really liked the layering he did with giving us horror, but through a new lens, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go ahead and talk about the island, the setting, Crockett Island, that they lovingly call Crockpot, is eerie.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's isolating. It's dilapidated. What role do you think this location plays in the story's atmosphere and even the characters' choices?
It kind of gives you a sense of hopelessness and hope at the same time. Like people want to keep it going, even though it's definitely over on that island for living. So I think that, and then they have the island of the cats, poor cats.
Yeah.
Where people are just dumping them and everything. And, there's nothing really for the teenagers to do. So they get into all kinds of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it definitely sets everything up for something.
Yeah.
The island is a character on itself. You feel the isolation, the desperation, the hopelessness, and the hope for, for it to be revived. Because it's like one of those old fishing islands, and trawling fishing has probably gotten way down over the years because of overfishing and whatnot, and it wants to come back to its former glory days. And then you have this little baby island next to it that it gave birth to. Poor cats have been like dumped over there, became feral and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then you have that little cat island, because that's its own little person, because it's where you throw your trash at, and the trash is cats, which is weird. And then you have people's actions. Old dude accidentally shot a girl. He's living his life in guilt. Young pregnant mom, kind of getting shunned.
Yeah.
Poor old boy who got Riley, who went to jail for killing somebody. Everyone's kind of shunning him, but not really. But they know what he did.
Yeah.
So this island basically keeps everyone insulated. They're kind of like, they don't have a broader perspective of how everything else should be or should work, how forgiveness should be seen. Like, he did his time. He should be forgiven for it. Okay.
Yeah.
There's no modernization in this island because, there's nothing for anybody to do. There's no entertainment. The only thing you could go do is like go to the church and have AA meetings and stuff like that. There's nothing. So the island is a character, and it's very creepy. Like, very creepy.
It is very creepy.
Because it's like it's stopped in time.
Yeah. That's actually a
Yeah.
really good way to describe it. Stuck in time.
Yeah.
And not even like a recent time. Like,
No.
like not a single one of those houses was built out of concrete.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, a good hurricane will tear everything down. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah.
Right? Right? Yeah, no, like, I mean, the island itself, you just walk on it and you're like, this place is fucking haunted. Like, you just know. When Riley got there and was like walking through the town, I was just like, what all is going on? Because like this you change a few things, like take off the fishing nets and put on like or fishing nets. Yeah, the fishing nets, take those off and put on some like burlap sacks. You got a Western,
Yeah.
like an old-timey Western
Yeah.
like setting. Like, come on, guys. What is going on here? Like, you know, there wasn't really any vehicles. Like, I don't think we saw a single car on in the show. Like you walked everywhere. And
But that's a good thing. Kind of like, London, you walk everywhere.
yeah. But it was just one of these deals of like the island just was unsettling from the beginning. And the fact that the community was just so like, no, you need to stay here. You can never leave here. You need to like, they were almost like very cultish, very like, no, we are home. One of us, never leave. Like it was very like I'm hightailing it the fuck out of here 10 minutes ago because y'all are creepy as fuck. like
I just got on this island. I'm leaving. Bye.
I
When's the
just
next
got
ferry out?
I just got here. Hey ferry, stay put because I'm hopping right back on. I'm not staying. Like it was like I understand why Erin and Riley were like, peace out, Cub Scouts. Like I get why they left. I don't blame them at all. But yeah, it was the perfect setting for a story that was about isolation and corruption the way that this story was.
Well, the thing is, this story kind of reminds me of a book I'm reading. Like the island itself reminds me of a book I'm reading called Dead 11. If there's an island in that book, same thing as Crockpot.
Okay.
When I was like reading the book, I was like, this reminds me of something. Why does it remind me of something? And then you mentioned it. I was like, because the island's kind of like, it was like, the island's kind of like cultish, kind of stuck in time, and the kids cannot leave the island without a parent.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh my God, you want these kids to stay. You want people to stay. Cult.
Yep. Yep. I mean, like even the way that the Monsignor created an AA chapter on the island, so that way Riley didn't have to leave the island.
Yeah.
And anytime somebody did leave the island, they're like, "Why are you leaving? Where are you going? When are you coming back?" You know that the last ferry is at. Like it was very much a, "Where are you going? I don't think so. You gotta stay here."
Like, no, don't leave. Goodbye. Bye. Goodbye.
Later.
Right? I mean, honestly, like if I was Riley, I would have been going to go check on the Monsignor at the different hospitals off the mainland.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have been like, hey, is the Monsignor here? I'm from his parish over on the island. I wanted to come say hi. The characters feel deeply human because they are extremely flawed. They are very relatable. They are very recognizable as like real people that we've encountered. Who did you connect with the most? Who did you not connect with at all? And of course, if we want, we can have this be a hashtag drag Bev panel or, question and like just drag her some more if we'd like. So what did you guys think about the characters?
I mean, like you said, all the eight characters are relatable, and you could actually see a bit of people that in them.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to say that I felt for Riley a lot because I've seen how people look at him, and I understand how it feels to be judged
Yeah.
for your actions. And even though you paid for your actions, you still have that guilt, and people still judge you for what you did, even though you paid for your actions. Like, he went to
Mm-hmm.
jail, and he's out. And I understood, and I felt bad for him. Like, yeah, you did a bad thing. Somebody died, and that's going to be with you for the rest of your life. But he
Yeah.
doesn't need to be reminded by everybody else by the way that they look at him. He's already torturing himself because he's reliving it almost every day. He relived it in jail, and he's reliving it out of jail. So, I felt it for Riley. And I
Mm-hmm.
also felt it for Sheriff Hassan, because he's the new sheriff
Yeah.
in a town full of, like, mostly white people.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not a Christian, he's a Muslim, and he's a single dad, and he's trying his best to raise his son right, trying the best to be both mother and father,
Yeah.
and also have religious discussions with his son, because his son's starting to question his own religion when the monster. So I felt for him too, because of what he was going through. I felt for Erin as well, because she's going to be a single mom, and then
Mm-hmm.
she lost her child,
Yeah.
and that's a loss that any woman who's been pregnant, who's lost a child, that hurts.
Yeah.
And you feel that pain. And you can't take away that pain. It's like, I lost a loved one. There's different pain levels for that. Losing a child that's
Mm-hmm.
still within you, it's a whole different level of pain than losing, someone you've known for years.
Yeah.
And motherfucking Bev. That's all I have to say about that.
I definitely connected with Lisa because she was so hopeful and she was always talking to the one senior. And they had really good discussions before, he turned her, of course. Yeah, the outsider, Erin being the single mom.
Erin, she
Yeah.
wasn't an outsider. She grew up there.
Yeah, but she
Yep.
still felt like an outsider because she got pregnant.
Yeah.
Shame, shame, shame. And I kind of understood. I kind of felt familiar with that because of what I went through during my pregnancies. Though I did not lose them, but still, it's like when you're feeling outcast because you're a single mom and you got pregnant. So I was very connected. And then there was Bev. Bev reminds me of my mother. That's why I don't like her. Because my mom, if she was more intelligent and not as emotional, that would be my mom. So I don't like Bev, but she reminded me because Bev made those little snippy comments like about the Muslim religion to the sheriff and, you don't trying to be cool and calm. And but most of the characters had some humanizing familiarity to it, whether I knew them as a friend or I connected with them.
Yeah. As much as I hate Bev, because I do, I absolutely loathe the woman. We've all been there where we have been in a mindset of I am right and everybody else is wrong, that we have gone off and we have done the wrong thing. Part of it is ignorance, part of it is pride, but we've all done that in some fashion. Maybe not to the same level and extreme as Bev, but I feel like it's true that we've all done that. We're like, no, I know I'm right. And then you're like, oh shit, no, I'm not. I done fucked up. The characters were so real that you felt like you knew each one in real life. Like that you had that charismatic priest or mentor or something like that. Somebody who taught, it could have been a teacher that you're just like, you're hanging on every word. You could have that friend who's like the mayor who, bless their heart, they're trying, but they don't have two brain cells to rub together. Each of the characters, like Riley's mom, Anne, like you could tell that she deeply loved both of her boys. She just didn't know how to make it all work, especially with her husband and like the tense relationships that they all had. Like you could see her just going, why can't you all just get along? Like like all of those things, you're like, yeah, I know exactly what moment that is. I know exactly how they're feeling. I can empathize with like 99% of the characters. And like I said, even Bev, I'm trying to I'm trying to empathize with her, but fuck her. Um Flanagan has said though that this is his most personal work. Knowing that what we know now about some of this is from his own personal thought processes on everything. Where do you see that kind of intimacy and vulnerability of this being like his work that comes through the most for you?
I would have to say the whole Monsignor Catholic Church thing.
Okay.
One, his last name is Flanagan, so he's definitely got some Irish in there, and most Irish people I know or related generations have had to suffer through the Catholic Church.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I see a lot of that in how, like, I guess Bev is kind of like one of the strict nuns, whereas the Monsignor's trying to be like forgiving, but he still listens to the strict nun, even though she's. So I can see that that's kind of, he had the Monsignor when he was an altar boy, and then you had the nun who's like, don't do that, I'm right, type of thing. So that's what I reflect. And then just trying to learn about new religions because you're not really supposed to learn about them in Catholic school. I know because I went. So in the 70s. So it's probably different today, but still. Yeah, so that's what I get from it. That's his personal.
Okay.
His personal touches to anything he does makes the story better. Like I knew he was a Catholic, and so I knew going into this show that there's going to be some religious themes. I didn't know if it was going to make me uncomfortable or comfortable, but being someone who wasn't raised in the religion like he was, I was very comfortable with the telling of the stories line that he had. And the personal touches for each of the characters that he did, I'm not sure if it was, personal to him or he was just adding character depth to these characters, but it made the story real and, easily digestible. Because if you have like one note character, you're not gonna sit through the whole series. But because of his personal touches to the story, to the series, it makes it relatable because like Lisa said, you have the strict nun, Bev, you have Monsignor, you have Mass on, is it on Sundays and Wednesdays? Or just Sundays?
Sundays, it depends
It's
on
usually the whole community coming together for Mass.
Yeah. The way that they did Mass there is they did Sunday Mass, which was like the big one that everybody went to. And then they had a Mass every morning that was more of like if you weren't able to go to Sunday, or those who are extremely devout who would go daily for resolution.
Yeah. And then, you have this awakening that happens where the whole town basically fills the pew because of these miracles that are happening. And in a way, you want to have that positivity for religion, because most people, like me, I don't practice religion that suppressed, people of my color for 400 years. I'm sorry, I'm not going to practice that religion. But you do want, a positivity in religion that could bring people together, like what was happening in Midnight Mass. But at the end of the day, you see what happens when religion gets too heavy and too big. And then the story.
Yeah.
It kind of mimics life, really. So yeah, his personal life makes the storytelling really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the character Riley it was written based off of his journey with belief, his journey with sobriety. Because Flanagan himself has said that he has issues with when it comes to drinking, and so he's been sober, I think, for years now. And you can see it in the way that he wrote the character Riley. You can see that the internal struggle that he had for choices that he made, and everything. You can see the inner turmoil, and in the way that it is written by somebody who has experienced that turmoil. So I think just Riley as a whole was a very open, flayed version of the inner thoughts and feelings and turmoil that Flanagan himself went through when it came to his sobriety and everything. I talked about it earlier, how I said like the ending was a thing. The ending is kind of tragic. It's oddly peaceful and beautiful. How did you feel about the ending? What did you think about the final moments?
Is this the moment on the boat with the two kids?
Just the final, like, that big whole ending.
Well, in a way, I felt at peace with it, but then again, I was kind of like, so what happens next?
Yeah.
Because I want to know what happens next. You kind of left me on this little bit of cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm.
But I also was happy with the ending because where else can you go, really?
Yeah.
But then again, what else what else haven't you explored?
Like, did the monster make it to the mainland?
Yeah, like did the monster make it to the mainland?
I mean,
Because you haven't answered that question.
Erin did a good job slicing up those wings.
Yeah.
But Homeboy still got some fight, so
Yeah. And also, I'm thinking, because me and my sister-in-law were sitting here talking about it. For a creature to be able to fly, like a human being-sized creature, to be able to have wings, your wingspan will have to be like at least 15 to 20 feet long to be able to carry a person. But you also have to be probably very light because birds are very light and their wingspan
isn't it
matches.
supposed to be like 3 times your size? Is like 3 times your height is supposed to be what your wingspan is?
Yes. So I know he sliced up his wings, but I was also thinking, can he really fly with those small wings? Or is he levitating?
Yeah, they were not massive. Lisa, what about you? What did you think about how the show ended?
It was sad and beautiful and happy at the same time. But yeah, I was wondering if the monster did get to the mainland. But no, I'm still trying to figure out, or did he bury himself to heal after he got all his wings sliced up so he could come back?
Well, they showed him flying off out to sea, and they said it was 30 miles to the mainland.
Him being a vampire, he might still have the magical strength to do it.
But I think he sort of died really at the end because Liv lost her ability to feel her legs.
That's true because...
But is that because the creature died or because that was at sunrise and they had already said that the UVs basically dissipated that stuff and she hadn't taken communion in over 24 hours?
It's true.
That the sunlight burned off the rest of the healing that she had. That's why I'm like, I need to know if the monster survived.
Yeah. because
I want to know.
In some vampiric lore, once the main vampire dies, all the other people who he bit and affected usually lose all their stuff and become human again.
Yeah.
So, did he die or was it just the sunlight?
Yeah. And there's a lot to wonder. I think what I loved most about the ending was that it showed what faith is supposed to look like. It shows what, if you are a follower of a religion, what it actually means to believe. And it's not just a Christian point of view or whatever, because you could see it through the two main religions that were shown in the series. You saw the congregation come together and sing a hymn in their last moments. They chose to, at the time of their death, praise their God and to worship their creator and in their beliefs. And even with the sheriff and his son, their last moments were together and they were in prayer to Allah. It was showing reverence to their beliefs and their faith and what brings them community. And I think that is what is so utterly beautiful about it all. And I think it speaks even perfectly with Bev and how she didn't do that, which meant she didn't truly have faith. She didn't truly understand what it was that she was, quote unquote, believing. Because in the time of her death, instead of praising and worshiping and coming together with her congregation, she wept, she mourned, she tried to deny it. She went through her grief cycle. She feared death. She did not welcome it with open arms.
Didn't she also try to bury herself?
She did. She tried to escape it.
Yeah.
And it's one of these deals of, if you are a true believer, there is no reason to fear death, because when you die, you go to heaven. When you die, you're absolved of everything and you're able to move on and you're to be welcomed in a loving embrace. So the fact that she feared death meant, one, she knows she fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
Two, she did not believe the way she was supposed to have believed.
Mm-hmm.
And lastly, she knew that she was going to hell, because that is the only reason for somebody like her to fear death. And I think it was poetically done, where you could see all of these things basically happening at the same time. And so that's why I think it's beautiful, is because you could see what it's supposed to look like. You get to see how you're really supposed to interact with it. But that's just my 2 cents. Before we wrap it up, Midnight Mass kind of already has a cult following. And it's kind of weird how, like, some people are like, oh my God, this is the thing. What do you think people will remember most about Midnight Mass in the next 5 years, the next 10 years? And is there anything that you think deserves to have attention from this series?
I don't know if Midnight Mass is a cult classic. I do know it will be a cult classic, but it does have elements for it to be.
Mm-hmm.
It does change, how storytelling of a vampire, could be told, because you never see, like, the originator, and Father Pruitt found the originator of this curse. And you don't get to see that very often. Yeah, you have Dracula, but was Dracula the original vampire, or was there originator?
Yeah.
So I would love to see more origin stories of the vampire, because, yeah, the creature, I believe the creature was the originator. He was just sealed in a tomb forever.
Ever.
And, I would love to see more stories of community like this little island had.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see more isolation, because the more isolated you are, the creepier the story. I mean, look at 30 Days of Night.
Yeah.
That was a creepy ass vampire story.
Roanoke.
No, yeah.
Like,
has there really been a good horror movie on Roanoke?
No, not really. Was I too quick to say that? No, not really.
You know what? I think we should write one.
Yeah. We should. But, isolation makes a very good story.
Yes, it does.
Like, I could see, like, the movie The Ritual, which is based off a book, be a cult classic because of the folklore and the isolation of being in the woods by yourself. No way out. Being hunted. Like the isolation always gets me. It always gets me.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah,
can't get away. I can't get away.
that's why The Ruins was so good, as well as the book. Just the isolation, and you couldn't get away.
Yeah. Lisa, what about you?
I know that definitely the little island being a character in itself, the vampire was beautiful. And I think that'll definitely get a lot of attention, which kind of helps it make a little bit of a cult classic because it was different. I mean, it was kind of fleshier, I guess you would say. I think the whole thing, I would consider it's definitely going to be a cult classic, even more so 10, 15 years down the road because of just everything, the interaction and all that. And the monster. The monster is a good monster.
Yeah.
And it doesn't just boo, it eases you into it and makes you think, is it not? That
also, they need to be uglier vampires. Uglier vampires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this one kind of looked like a tall man.
Yeah, he did. But I don't want pretty vampires anymore. I want something to be like, ugh.
Yeah, with bat faces, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't call this a cult classic currently, but I can see how it could become a cult classic. And it's because this is a fully original Mike Flanagan series. He wrote it, he directed it, he produced it. It's not an adaptation. This is like, it's his brainchild kind of thing. Because of that, I could see it in 10 years' time being a cult classic simply just because this is a Flanagan original. I think people will remember the fact that the vampire was never called a vampire. I think people will remember their hatred for Bev. It's kind of like how people like have that hatred for Carrie's mom. And it's like, like when you think about the movie Carrie, you're like, oh, fuck her mom. Like you just instantly like think that or feel that. To almost feel sorry for some of the characters. Like the poor dog. You're going to remember these things. But because the show ignites emotion, that I think is what's going to keep it as a cult classic. I think that's what's going to make it something that people remember in the next 5, 10, 15 years. So it's that time. I'm going to wrap this up. So final thoughts, ladies. And skull ratings, we do 1 through 5 because 1, they at least tried. 5, because it's badass. Lisa, why don't you go ahead and start?
I would definitely give it a 4.5. My thoughts on it is I actually really enjoyed it because of the familiarity of the island and the isolation alone, plus the characters. So, and I really did like the vampire makeup because it was nice and it was different. It wasn't a sexy vampire. It was horrifying. So I definitely get it a 4.5 skulls.
Yeah. I mean, I also have to give it a 4.5 skulls. I mean, I love the story. I love, all the character development. I love the island. I wasn't really emotionally attached to it like most people, who like stories like this. I think it's because of the religious aspect that he was trying to tell. And I'm not a religious person. So I don't understand like how, Catholicism or going to any type of religious, church run school could be a detriment to a person. I mean, I can see it. I mean, I've seen it in generations, especially with the Native Americans, but it's harder to see in, everyday people's lives because you don't really talk about it that much. But, with groups of people like the Native Americans or the indigenous people, you see, you hear and you see firsthand accounts through history and oral talk and stuff like that. This, I can see it becoming, something that will be studied because Mike Flanagan needs to be studied anyways. All his works need to be studied. So yeah, I give it a 4.5. And I also like the way he reuses like actors because he could get the best out of them.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Flana family is what they call it, or Flanafam. That's it.
Mhm.
Flanafam is what they call the group of individuals who keep coming back, gluttons for punishment. This series hits so much that it is enjoyable to watch. It has respect for so many different things, and it shows a reality that's kind of fresh. I feel like a lot of stuff that we end up watching and seeing is very manufactured, like a manufactured normal, and this was very raw normal, and so it was kind of refreshing to watch in that aspect. Is it Mike's best work? Probably not. At this point in time, I think there's a couple of other things that I think are higher on my list for his projects, but at the end of the day, it's good. So I would probably give it a 4.5 as well. Our lovely little ghouls, our fellow horrorholics. Where on the skull scale would you put this one? Have you seen it? Were you triggered? And how much did you hate Bev? Because that would be a full 2-hand smackaroos for me. But come tell us on our social media. We're on all the fun different things. We're on Instagram, TikTok, X, Threads, Blue Sky. We have a fun Discord. We have our Facebook group. Everything you can find in the link in our bio. But it's pretty easy at Earth Station Boo. So you can also subscribe and rate us wherever you listen to your podcast. So Apple, Google, Spotify, YouTube, and we do answer some comments. So come check us out, talk to us. We would love to hear from you. Ladies, where can they find y'all at? Lisa?
You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. And I'm back on TikTok, Zen77. And then, of course, there's Threads.
Rock on. Karen, where can they find you?
Facebook, Instagram, Threads, X, formerly known as Twitter, TikTok, and Reddit.
Groovy. And I am Shannon. You can find me on all the things at Spill Tea Wine, Media Mind. And as always, our lovely little ghouls, our fellow horrorholics, thank you. We cannot tell you enough how much we appreciate every like, every share, every subscribe. Shout out to Nerd Titan TV. He actually shares our YouTube every time we launch a new episode in his Discord. So thank you so very much. We appreciate every single one of you. So stay spooky, our lovely little ghouls. And this has been the Spooky and Kooky podcast of Earth Station Boo.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.